Hello, hello.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining today. Can everybody hear okay?
I can hear.
Awesome. Yay! We've got a big crowd today, which is awesome. Excuse me while I open up my 15,000 tabs. So right now on the agenda, we don't have a lot that's listed. So if you do have things you want to cover, please do type it into the working doc. And I'm going to put the link to that here in the Zoom chat so everyone can have that handy. Is there anybody that's new joining us today that wants to say hi? Tell us about yourself, what your favorite dog is, important things like that.
Well, April, I'm new, but I guess I'll introduce myself when I start the demo.
There you go. That's right. You got to build the anticipation. We have a good bit of folks here on the call today, which is great, and I suspect the demo is a large part of the draw there. So that's awesome. If no one else has anything they want to introduce, we won't put you on the spot. Just a couple of things that I want to call out. So OzCon is coming up. If you've never been to OzCon or heard about it, it is pretty much the open source event, and it's going to be in Portland this year in July. And there's going to be a really great Istio presence there because they're having an Istio day, which is awesome. So this is going to be an entire day of the conference that is focused to all things Istio. And so right now there's a call for presentations going on for that day. I put a link in our working doc. The call for presentations ends on May 23rd, so that is fast approaching. But I highly encourage you to submit to that, and we'd love to have you there at OzCon. I'll be there. I know a lot of the team here will be there, and so we'd love to see you. We'll kind of share some information as we get closer about maybe some meetup opportunities and things like that. But definitely, if you have something like, you were implementing Istio or you have a specific use case, things like that, they're really interested in that. Since we know that people are starting to use it in production, it's great to get some of those stories and kind of share things you've run into or things that didn't go well or went great, things like that. I still highly recommend some topics on that. So the link is there. If you have any questions or just want some general information or want some help with a CFP or maybe are looking for a co-presenter, definitely reach out to me. I'm happy to help. And then there's also, if you haven't yet joined the Istio Rocket Chat, do that. We have a channel for events, and one of the things you can do in that channel is kind of use that as a spot to say like, hey, I want to present. Does anybody need a co-presenter? Things like that. So that's a great way to meet up with folks that might also be interested in presenting. So if you haven't yet joined Rocket Chat, you should because it's cool. And the link is also in the working doc. It's from the last meeting, but I'll copy paste as well and move it up some. But do join us there because we're getting the user community going there, and so it's a great way to connect with others. Yes, Kevin, do that. That would be awesome. All right, so if no one has anything else they want to share or add, we can jump right into the demo. If John, you want to do your introduction and show us the cool stuff.
Sure. Hello, everybody. Thank you, April, for inviting us into this meeting to show the demo. I know you originally talked to Heiko. He couldn't make it, so I'm part of his team. So I'll be showing you a demo of Kiali. If nobody knows what Kiali is, it's basically a UI front end to what the Istio team is doing. And let me share my screen before I get into anything deep. I've never used Zoom, so give me a minute. I'm assuming you can see my screen.
Yep.
Yep.
Yes. Okay. Okay. So my name is John Mazzatelli. I work with the Kiali group. We're a bunch of folks right now in Red Hat. We have a few community members from outside of Red Hat that are beginning to contribute. So if you are interested in the Kiali project and want to contribute, please come on in. We're on Freenode, chat room, pound Kiali. We have Google Groups, kiali.dev. Just get in touch with us any way you want. We're on GitHub, obviously, so feel free to jump in if you see some things that you want to contribute to. So the first thing I want to mention is our, we do have a front page. The Zoom stuff is in my way. Hold on a minute. Yeah, all right, here's this homepage. If you want to know what Kiali is all about, we're going to basically visualize things that are happening in your service mesh using Istio. So here's the kiali.github.io. I won't talk about this much, just pointing you to this page. Go here if you want to have an introductory of what Kiali is, how to build it, how to run it. If you have any questions, just shout out. I'm going to try to not take long, but if you do have any questions, feel free to shout out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go through the book info demo, parts of it, small parts of it, and I'm sure people on the call are familiar with it, which is why I wanted to use it. And then as I go through the demo, I'll show how Kiali is visualizing things as things are happening. So hopefully that makes sense. Right now, this is the Kiali main screen. Does this seem to work? You guys can see my entire Chrome, right? That's okay. I'm watching people shake their head. Okay. All right. So right now I have the book info demo installed. Everything is running, but no requests have been sent through it in the past few minutes. We've been able to auto detect the services and the linkages between the services in the mesh. Now I'm going to run through some of the tutorial, and we'll see how the UI behaves, and I'll go over bits and pieces of the Kiali interface. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create the route rules, which were part of the, again, the Istio book info demo. I'm just going to be cutting and pasting commands. It may look magical, but if you're familiar with the book info tutorial, you will have gone through this yourself. So that's really what I'm going through, is using the same rules in the book info tutorial uses. All right, so I just created the route rules for the book info demo. You can see right here, product page reviews, ratings, and details. Nodes all got route rules created for them. So I'm going to go over to the Kiali interface, and here you can see these badges. This is telling you that we just created these route rules. These are now route rules on these nodes. If we select this node, this is the product page v1 service. The side panel is going to show you details about that node. And here you can see we have a little blurb here that it has at least a route rule on it. And if I go to the service details page, where this link right here, this will give us a lot more detail about what's going on here. And I'm going to show you the route rule that we just created, just so you can be familiar with what just happened. So here's the route rule that we just created. Very simple route rule, again, it's from the tutorial. Any request coming in is going to go to version 1 of this service. Like, nothing really special about that. And it's the same thing with these other route rules, if you're familiar with the tutorial. But notice everything is black, all these edges are black, and if you haven't had any traffic yet. So that's what I'll do in a minute. But real quick, I want to mention why the screen is flashing. If you hover over a node, we're basically going to focus on that node and just highlight the incoming edges, outgoing edges, incoming nodes, and outgoing nodes. That's why you see V1, V2, V3 kind of highlighted, ingress unknown. I'll explain those in a minute. If I were to come and highlight the reviews graph, you can see we focused in on the incoming outgoing of the reviews. And if I focus on ratings here, you can see what's coming in from just the ratings, and it basically dims everything out. It just helps you visualize, focus in a little bit more on what you're focusing on. If I were to select something, say I want to select the ratings node here, it's basically fixed. So now if I hover over things, it's not going to change. Just a way to fix the graph so you can see things. If I click outside the graph, I go back to the way it was before. And we can zoom in and zoom out. Of course, if you have a large mesh, this is where it becomes helpful, but for now, that's not so good. So I'm going to submit a request to the browser to the product page of the book info. It's this guy. So this should, again, should all look familiar. If I refresh this page, notice there's no stars. That means it's going to the version 1 of the reviews service. Again, if you're familiar with the book info demo, you understand this. If you're not, I recommend going through the book info demo. It's pretty neat and very helpful to learn the Istio. All right, so I just need a couple requests there. We're going to shrink this. The Zoom controls are in my way, so I'm going to shrink my okay. So let me refresh. Okay, so here you can see we've got some green lines now. When I sent the request, and I'll explain this unknown in Istio English right now. The unknown diamond here is basically saying the request came in. It didn't go through the Istio ingress, but it came directly to the product page. This is, again, a browser request from outside the mesh that's coming into the product page. If I were to have gone through the ingress itself, you would have seen the green edge coming from the ingress of the product page. That's telling you the request came in through the ingress into our mesh. But right now, I went directly to the product page. And if you're familiar with the way the book info demo works, you're going to go get a request to get the details of the book, plus get your reviews. And again, if you're familiar with the tutorial, the version 1 of the reviews doesn't get the ratings. That's why you can see stars. And you'll see what I mean when I see stars in a minute. But it's going to the version 1 of this service, so you won't see any stars because there are new ratings. So that's what this is showing here. Hopefully that makes sense. If I were to select edges, you're going to get data about the edge. Requests per second, the percentages of successful and failed requests for that edge. If I were to select a node, you're going to see in and out. So you're going to see the requests coming in, the requests going out, whether they were successful or whether they failed. And this little spark line graph gives you a little timeline of the number of requests per second coming in. We have edge labels. You can see requests per second. So if I were to enable requests per second, you can see 0.04, 0.04, 0.0, basically showing you the requests per second for that edge. You can see how much your traffic is. We added a new thing recently, latency. So not only is it requests per second, but I'm showing latency now, the time it took for the requests to get through. Filters here, very simple. We can hide these badges if we don't want to see the badges. We can hide node labels if they're getting a little too noisy, if their mesh is really large, you can see node labels. And well, missing sidecars, I won't talk about the missing sidecars badge. That's such a badge that if we're missing a sidecar, you'll see a little badge indicating you missing an Istio sidecar. And I'll show circuit breakers in a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to create another route rule. Again, this is from the tutorial. Just create that route rule. And I'm going to submit oh, let me show you what this route rule is first. This is on the reviews. Again, just a good way to show you how to see what these are. So I just selected the reviews service. It's a version group. I'm going to go to my service details page. I'm going to look at this route. So I got 2 now. Here's the new one. If you're, again, this is from the tutorial. If the user Jason sends a request in, it's going to go to version 2 of our ratings. So that's this route rule that I just created. Let me go back to my graph. Let me show the last 10 minutes so you can see the traffic. So now let me go over to the app and let me sign in as Jason. Password. Okay, I'm now logged in as Jason. Now you can see the stars. When you see the stars, that now we know we've gone to version 2. This is nothing more than what the Istio route rules are doing. And I can submit a couple of requests just to see that you're going to keep seeing the black stars. Let's go back to the Kiali front end here. Now notice, let me go to last minute so you can see the last. Notice the traffic now is going to version 2. So it came in from unknown, there's our, we grabbed our details, and this time it came into the version 2. So there you can see that our art will actually work because we've got screen traffics coming into 2. You can see in the last minute we didn't get anything going to version 1. It'll go to version 1 had I made an anonymous request. I didn't log in as Jason. So now let me add another route rule, and we're going to do some fault injection. Again, this is part of the tutorial. So this is going to the ratings. I'll show you what I just created. So let's go to the ratings. Go to the details. And let's see what route rule was just created. All right, here's the new route rule that was just created. If Jason, the user Jason sends a request, this time it's going to go to version 1 of ratings, but it's going to have a fixed delay of 7 seconds. 100% of the time. This is what the route rule is telling me to do. So I should, if I go, if I show or go to the browser page, I'm still logged in as Jason. Let me refresh this. This should wait 7 seconds. All right, so we're spinning. Spinning. Okay, notice now we've got an error fetching the reviews. This is what that route rule did. It put the delay and it caused the error to occur. Now let's see what the Kiali is showing now. Now it's showing we got an error. This is what the route rule just did. Here you can see, an interesting thing here is you can see the 3 to XX. That was the authentication page. That was the 301 page. Then it also shows that we've got some errors here. If I would click this edge here, you can see, half of my, or almost half of my requests were errors. That was when I submitted that request, when the route rule of delaying 7 seconds was in place. These other green ones were my earlier requests that went and were successful. If I were to look at the last minute, you can see last minute, it was full 100% failures because the last request I did in the last minute was that failure request. I do want to make a side note here. The Kiali team actually submitted an Istio issue on GitHub because if you notice, the graph looks kind of weird here. Notice this edge is red, but this edge here is green. The odd thing here is the delay was on this node here, going to ratings, right? The route rule was created on the rating service, and it was this rating service that caused the problem. However, Istio is not saving the proper metrics to show the failure here on this edge. It's showing you when the request goes back to the user here. This is correct. But this edge should be red here, but that's because Istio isn't collecting metrics starting at the source node. I don't know the full details. There's a Git issue, a GitHub issue about this problem, and it has to do with the way Istio is collecting metrics. So I just wanted to point that out. If you're looking at this, you're going, why is that green? there is an issue that we need to correct in Istio in the way it collects its metrics. But at least we do see that it is detecting some problem here in this edge here. And by the way, notice the latency. You can see here the latency is showing, 9 seconds. That's due to the route rule delay. So here you can see that little edge label helps to determine what the long latency was. All right, so I'm going to delete that route rule because we don't want that route anymore. So I deleted that route rule. Now, if I go back as my JSON user here, and if I refresh this, it should go back to normal. I should see my stars. And there we go. Now it worked. So our route rule is done. Our route rule is gone for that delay. So we should be able to see everything's green now the last minute. Last thing I want to do is a quick breaking example. This is not the demo. This is something that I put together and just do a real quick circuit breaker demo. So I'm going to go to another directory where I have the YAML file. So I'm going to create circuit breaker on the reviews. Okay, let me refresh and I'll show you what that actually looks like. It shows circuit breakers. And now you can see a little lightning bolt. That's showing you there's a circuit breaker on here. So if I select this guy and we look at the. Again, here's our details page. Oh, by the way, notice we're showing health due to the previous error that we were generating. Kiali is telling you there's something not right over here. This is due to that route rule that delayed 7 seconds. But let me show you the destination policy what I just created. So here you can see circuit breaker was created on here. And it's the typical circuit breaker that you see in all the demos. It's a circuit breaker that requires only one request at a time, making concurrent requests, and it's going to send a fault. Let's go back to the graph. Last minute, we've got no requests yet. So let me send an anonymous request. Let me log out, and let me send some requests. So I'm sending some requests, anonymous requests. I'm not logged in. Everything's working. We should be going to version 1 because our original route rules are in place. So we should see green. There we go. So we see green going to version 1. This is the original route rules that we originally had that I haven't deleted. That's sending everything to version 1, and that's what we're seeing now. So everything's good. That'd be great. Circuit breaker is not open. But now, let me run the Fort.io load tool. Let me send something correct. So here you can see we're getting a bunch of 503s. So I know the circuit breaker triggered. The circuit breaker is open because we just sent a whole bunch of requests, a whole bunch of concurrent requests. Now here you can see the red. This is telling you that the circuit breaker. Let me reset that filter. Circuit breaker over here. Circuit trigger causing this request to fail. And here you can see the bar graph showing you there's an error. Up here, you can see the incoming requests and outgoing requests. Now, again, this you would think would be red because the circuit breaker here is open. But because Istio isn't collecting metrics for the source node where the circuit breaker is open, we can't see that error. So once Istio gives us a view into that metric, we'll be able to show this as red. But right now we don't have that metric, so we can't show this as red. But we can show that the request coming in here did have an error because of this circuit breaker. All right, that's the demo. Anybody have any questions?
Thank you so much. I know there were some questions in the chat. I think some of them got answered, but I don't know if anybody still has anything they want to talk about. I know Lynn had some questions.
Yes, so I think the question hasn't been answered was, can we run this on other Kubernetes besides OpenShift? For example, if people want to run in Kubernetes in IBM Cloud or GKE.
Yes, so I didn't show it, and good call. This is running on OpenShift. I have this running on OpenShift. It can run on just bare Kubernetes. We have people doing that. I mean, I've done that. And we had recently someone on the IBM Kubernetes product. I know people are running on there. Matter of fact, we just had somebody contact us yesterday about wanting to write some Helm charts to get it to install on the IBM system. So there are people out there that are interested. They can get it to run now, but there's efforts afoot to make it easier to install and run instead. The idea is not to make this OpenShift specific, to make that clear.
Okay, can you share with us the install instructions? And also, I assume your demo is based on 0.7.1 and it's not totally updated to 0.8 yet?
Yes, this is 0.7.1. This is not updated to 0.8 yet. The instructions, I would again point you to the kiali.github.io. This, I believe, gives you just OpenShift instructions. Now, we have some Kubernetes scripts and a makefile to get you to deploy this on Kubernetes. I've used it with Minikube.
Mm-hmm.
So I would point you, if you need instructions, please feel free to send us an email to kiali.dev Google Groups, and people can help you out.
Okay, thank you.
Need to get more docs on here. So this is certainly a work in progress. And again, we're not trying to make this OpenShift specific. If we can get the instructions out there to get you installed other things, we will definitely do that.
Mm-hmm.
John, can you show the link to the metrics and the traces?
Oh, yeah. That's on my list to do. I totally forgot to do that. Yeah. Let me do. Yeah, sorry. This was actually what I was supposed to do. I completely forgot because I forgot to scroll down. I have a little script here. I forgot to scroll down. I'm going to delete the route rules that are routing everything to version 1. So now everything's going to route to version 1, 2, and 3 using route robin. Then I'm just going to do some curl. I'm just going to start sending a whole bunch of stuff. All right, so I'm running curl using watch, and now I'm sending a bunch of requests. So let me refresh this. Let's wait for the route rules to go away. The route rules are still here. It's supposed to delete it.
Delete of the route rules failed because it couldn't find the file.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, wrong directory. Yeah, all right. Let me go back. I'm just doing this so I can send a whole bunch of requests and you can see the graph start going green, and then I'll show you the metrics. Okay, so here we go. So notice that the route rule badges over here, here, and here are gone. So here's the important one. Now we're routing to all 3 versions. So that's why you see greens here and greens here. So we got requests coming in all over the place. All right, so if I go to, let's say, here's our service details page. And I showed you this page already because you can see the route rules and the destination policies. But here we've got the metrics link. And this is just showing a real quick chart of metrics that are going on. So a quick view of some of the basic metrics you're going to look at: volume, duration, things like that. Down below, you're going to see a link that I can go to Grafana. Here you can go look at more details. This is the typical Istio Grafana page. You want to drill down and see everything that Grafana will give you. All right, there's also the traces right here, and this is going to take you to the Yager stuff. And here you can see the Yager form page with. Notice it's already taking you to the views because that's what I selected in the UI. And here I can just drill down to my tracing. So this is how you can get tracing to specific, particular services in your mesh. Does that make sense?
So does it require both Grafana and premises and Jaeger or Zipkin, I assume?
Well, it doesn't require Yager and it doesn't require Grafana. But if you don't have them, those links I showed you obviously won't work.
Okay, so you only need require premises for this view.
That's correct. Prometheus is driving most of this.
Okay.
Prometheus is giving obviously the metric data, and we're also extracting the mesh from Prometheus as well using the rules.
Mm-hmm.
I'm reading the questions. So what is showing here on the service script? Is that per? Yes. So right now it's per namespace. And this is a good question. Right now we're in discussions and we're doing some design meetings, which we're doing this out in Kiali Tech. So if you're interested in this, please participate. Question is, how do we show a mesh that spans multiple namespaces? Right now we're showing per namespace. We would like to show a mesh that spans namespaces. And the question is, how do you do that? Do you show namespace and we show nodes taking it out, and then if you click those nodes, that takes you to the other namespace? And how do we visualize cross namespaces when we're doing meshes? This is a question we're working on right now. As you see today, it's strictly per namespace.
Yeah, we look at this when we did some initial Istio integration with WeaveScope, and I think what we come up with maybe using label as a namespace. So as a user, I can add label to my graph to say I want this label to add the default namespace, add booking for namespace, so that I can choose one or more. Because now you have a drop down, which typically means only one.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. I mean, you got it. How do you select multiple namespaces? How do you show multiple namespaces? This is the problem that we're trying to tackle right now.
Yeah, because I know the weather company has been speak very highly of Visio. I was just trying to think what would be a comparison between what you guys have with Visio, which we're also interested in the Istio integration with Visio. And I find out for Visio, one thing really neat is you could have like many services, and then you could all visualize them together. And with the service graph you have, I'm a little bit worried, like if you have 40 services, how busy it can get, and also back to the namespace problem. What if my services span multiple namespace? How am I going to visualize that?
Right. So these are definitely questions that we're trying to answer now. I do want to bring up a quick point, kind of tangential, but if you see this layout here, we're actually trying to fiddle with what's the proper layout. I'm showing you this diagram layout. We have these other ones. These are Cytoscape layouts. The graph here is Cytoscape. We're not quite sure what the best one is. Do we want to keep one layout? Do we want to do several of them? We're not sure this is kind of ugly. The coal one. You can see we can do different layouts for meshes that are larger, say 40 services, 100. You know, what's a proper layout? And we're not quite sure yet what the proper one is. That's why we have this drop down to let you choose. Maybe there's one versus another that visualizes your mesh better than another.
Okay, I see. Now, does your green thing is always live, or this is all past traffic? Like, do you actually show live traffic? Because right now nobody hits book info because it's confusing. You actually have a solid green.
Right. That's right. So, was it you asked the difference? Oh, the difference between green and black arrows. These edges, green means there's traffic, and the green here is we're 100% success. Right? You saw red. That means we had some errors there. I believe we even show orange for make sure I forget what the demarcation point is, but it's trying to show you success versus failure. So it helps you draw your eye to maybe problems in your mesh. Black means there's been no traffic in the last minute. Right, so right now I'm looking at the last minute. And to answer your question, Lynn, this is not getting live data. We don't have anything like WebSocket interface yet. This is past since the last time I refreshed. That's why you noticed me. I hit this refresh button over here. If I were to hit refresh over here, you're going to see this up. Now I'm running this curl, right? This is running in the background. I'm sending requests since we've been talking. So that's why you keep seeing green, because there's still requests coming in. If I were to cancel this, if I were to talk longer than a minute, you'll see eventually this graph will go all black, because in the last minute we'll have no traffic.
Okay, so it is live data as long as it's refreshed frequently.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I thought when you said live update, you meant you were going to automatically update this.
Oh yeah,
right?
that's needed too, probably. Yeah, because I didn't
Okay.
even realize you've been keep refreshing.
Oh yeah. So if I keep talking here another 30 seconds, if I refresh, eventually we'll go all black.
Yeah, makes sense.
I'm looking at the other questions here. How big is the support for out route rule? We do have, now I haven't played with Istio 0.8 yet, but I know our guys have implemented Alpha 3 support. I don't know, I think it's finished. Somebody online knows this for sure, but we're on our way.
Oh yeah, so book info has been updated to V1 Alpha 3. It's actually, there's automated testing as part of every single build. So you should be able to get it running if you want to try the release candidate.
Oh, there, like you said, you're working on it. Like that was, organized. What are the so what are the GitHub merge icons? Okay, so this is us developers not being UX guys. We just looked at some pattern fly icons and tried to pick ones that vaguely resemble like routes. The lightning bolt I picked for a circuit breaker only because I don't know why. Circuit breakers, electricity, lightning bolts, that's why I picked it. We do have UXD folks that are looking at our stuff. They're helping us better design our user interface here. So we do plan on updating these badge icons to be a little better representative of what they mean. So the GitHub merge icons represents a route rule for now. Sorry, we're not very good at this thing.
Yeah, because I look at the merge icon every day. It's like, that's a merge.
Yeah. Well, it branches out, right? So it's a merge, it's a route, right? That's fine. It was the closest thing we could think of. Is there a specific reason why Kiali as a separate setup for OpenShift? There is talk about somehow integrating Kiali as an OpenShift plugin. Those talks are very preliminary. It was more like, hey, why don't you guys put this in the OpenShift console instead of having it separate? Yes, that is something we're talking about. However, again, we don't want to make this strictly OpenShift specific. So we do want to be sensitive to the community around that. The metrics issues because we're not collecting client-side metric. Yes, there we go. That is the issue. Thank you. So you can see through the Kiali UI why that issue is important, because it kind of the error that you see is kind of weird because of that client-side metrics not being collected. If we get this client-side metrics collected, it will make the graph much more intuitive about where the error is. So that's an important issue to us. So if anybody's listening that can help with that, useful. Kiali GitHub.io redirects to Kiali.org. I don't know. Hopefully Heiko can look into that. I don't know why that would be. Yes, thank you, April. That is the GitHub there / Kiali.
If anyone else has any questions, you're welcome to unmute and ask directly or anything you want to add.
If not, I can stop sharing my screen. Thank you for inviting me, April. Really appreciate it. And thank you, everybody, for your time. I hope this was informative. And again, if you're interested in joining the Kiali community and want to help build this out, please feel free to get in touch with us.
Yeah, so how diverse is your community right now? Is it pretty much Red Hat right now?
It is pretty much Red Hat at this time. It's a fairly new project. So we're pretty much Red Hat folks. Like I said, we had a guy yesterday who wants to do the Helm chart. Somebody was talking about, wanted to do about the IBM Kubernetes integration. So we are getting some interest, but honestly, for the majority, we are Red Hat.
Okay, thank you.
Hey guys, it's pretty fantastic. As you go to integrate this into maybe the OpenShift UI, is the intention to continue to leverage like Grafana for metrics and Gauge for distributed tracing?
You kind of looked out there. You're asking if we integrate to OpenShift, are we still going to integrate with Yager and with Grafana?
Right.
Yes. So Yager for sure. I mean, we're big on Yager. So that is our distributed tracing solution. So that's what we're focusing on. I see no reason why we will not use Grafana like you see today. At least at the very least, integrate the links to it and maybe do some other interesting things. So I don't see why we wouldn't.
Okay. Oh, cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, John, for sharing that with us.
Thank you again.
We've got just a few minutes left over the call. Does anybody have anything else that they want to add or talk about overall with the Istio project?
Is there any update on 08?
Len, can you maybe speak to that? I think you're probably the most up on that on the call.
Yes, so Jasmine, who is the project manager for Istio, and she's been sending out a note on dev list. And today is the Istio Community Day to help us testing. So we actually just started testing ourselves in the past week or so, and there's a release candidate build. I believe I actually have it just installed on my machine. So it's May 15 at 5 p.m. I don't know if it's West or Eastern time zone, but there's probably only one build on that day. So feel free to grab that build. And also if you are available, I believe the community test meeting is up until 4 p.m. California time. So the Istio developers, a couple of us are hanging out there to answer questions. So one thing I want to make sure everyone aware of is we're really looking at user experience onboarding into 08. So we do expect your existing application, your old route to continue work after you move to 08. And then you should be able to, at your own pace, to use the migration tool to convert the old network YAML file, the old route rule, and the ingress to the new gateway and the new virtual services. So to be able to sidecar injection and everything at your own pace. Any specific question you have on 08? We expect it might be another week or so. That would be my best guess. as we harder, make sure it's tested, make sure the website documentation is up to date.
And I just posted a link in the chat to the forum post that Jasmine had done about the community testing. So if you've got time and want to jump in and take a look at what's out there, that post has got a lot of the information.
Yep.
And testing isn't just today, but today's the day that the team is kind of live on a Hangout to offer advice and help. But you can do testing anytime, but we'd love to have folks sign up.
Yeah, in fact, it would be really cool because the main team has been testing our classical example of book info, the Hello World. You know, we have been testing guestbook, only very few limited example, and this is a stable release where we want to support it for 3 months. So it would be really appreciative if you guys actually have some other example and try it out and let us know so we can actually fix this before 08 goes out.
I have to put that link in the working doc if anybody needs to grab it later. Anything else? Any other questions? All right, well, if there's nothing else for today, then we can wrap up and get a few minutes back in our day. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and thanks again, John, for the demo. It was really great. We've got the links to everything in the working doc, and I'll paste the whole chat there as well so that you can see all the other questions and everything that was asked. We will have our next community meeting in 2 weeks. And just a reminder, please do check out the OSCON CFP and do join us on Rocket Chat as well and do some testing. So that's your homework. All right. Thanks, everybody. We will see you in 2 weeks. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah.